this video tutorial, we'll walk through all the steps necessary to create the miniature train wheel. We'll start with a new standard IPT and a new 2D sketch, but this time on the XZ plane. I'm going to create a 2-point rectangle from the origin to the left and a center point circle in the middle of that rectangle up to the edge. We'll place a couple dimensions. We can see from the center of the wheel out to the center of this radius on the edge is 1 inch. It's also provided me a dimension for this outside, but it's provided me a radius of 0.125. If I click on this right now, Inventor will automatically want to put that on as a diameter. Not a problem. I'm going to right click, go to Dimension Type, and change it to Radius. That will keep me from having to trim this portion of the circle. We'll use this a couple of times. 0.125. Fully constrained. While we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put the cutout that's on the front of the wheel. Just the basic portion of it. So from the center of the wheel to the inside of the cutout is 0.25. From the inside of the wheel to the outside of the cutout, we have a dimension of 0.75. And from the back of the wheel to this flat area of the cutout is 0.125. Fully constrained. Finish sketch and revolve both the circle and the C shape. Do not select this cutout here. We'll come over and go to select axis and pick this as the middle of the wheel. And select OK. There, we have the majority of the wheel already done. Next thing I'm going to do is a fillet of 0.0625. Now in the print I can see that it says radius 0.0625 TYP. TYP just keeps them from having to say that dimension over and over. So we're going to create an S-curve. I'm going to click once and click twice so that that fillet combines this into an S shape. I'll click once, I'll click twice, and it'll do the same thing. So I've got convex and concave fillets around each one of those parts. Select OK. Great. Now all we have left is the spokes, the hole in the middle of the wheel, and this little peg that comes over here that allows the front wheel and the back wheel to attach to each other. Let's go ahead and create that one first. Start a new 2D sketch in the flat portion, and I'm going to scoot this over, and we're going to right click and go to Slice Graphics. That's going to hide everything between me and where I'm drawing so I have a nice clean area to draw. I'm going to create a horizontal line that has a length of 0.7. On the end of that horizontal line, we'll place the first cylinder. That first cylinder we can see has a diameter of 0.25. Fully constrained, and we'll finish sketch. We'll extrude just that small cylinder out a distance of 0.375. Great. From there, what we're going to do is add the next cylinder and then put the hole into it. We'll start another 2D sketch on the end. I'm going to project geometry of that flat face so I can get that yellow dot. We'll create another center point circle with a diameter of 0.125. Finish sketch, and it gets an extrusion of 0.125. Great. The next thing we need to do is create the hole. Now, because this hole is going on a cylinder and it's going in the middle of the cylinder, it actually saves us an extra step. We don't have to create a sketch on the end of it. In our hole tool, we can actually create a concentric hole. When we create a concentric hole, it's going to want to know two things. Number one, what plane is it going to get put onto, and what is the concentric reference? Con meaning width and concentric meaning center. So which center do we want it to share? So I'm going to zoom in on the part so that we can see it. So the plane that I want is this outside surface. The concentric that I want, unfortunately, I can't actually pick right now because it thinks the hole is supposed to be bigger than that, and it's giving me a hard time trying to pick that because it thinks it's going to be gone. But I can still pick this outside portion of the cylinder. As soon as I do that, it should jump that ring right into the middle. Great. So now we'll put on the diameter. The diameter is 0.0625, and it is a blind hole. So I'll change my through all to a depth of 0.25 and select OK. So now we have a blind hole that shares the same center of the cylinder that goes in 1/4 inch. I'm going to do the exact same thing in this portion to create the hole that goes through the middle. Hole, concentric. I want this face, and this time I should be able to pick the circle because the hole is not encompassing the entire thing. There's my center. It should hop to the center. Make sure you always pick both things. There's a lot of times you could be really close to the center and it make it look like it's in the center and you actually haven't picked it. So this time I have a diameter of 0.28 with a depth of through hole. So now I have a diameter 0.28 through hole. Okay. Excellent. The only thing we have left is to put the small spoke pattern there. I'm actually going to rotate the part and do it on the back. First thing we're going to do is draw 2 center point circles. Straight from the origin, create the first one and create the second one. Same thing as before. The dimensions they have provided us are radiuses, and right now what we'll have is diameters. So we'll do the same trick we did before, clicking the circle, right-clicking, changing it to radius, and my outside one has a radius of 0.625 or 5/8 of an inch. My next one will also be a radius, and it has a radius of 3/8 of an inch or 0.375. Great. I'm now going to draw a horizontal line from the center out to my second radius. Now, I don't actually want that line to be visible when it's choosing its 3D profiles. So I'm going to make it a construction line, and I've got 2 easy ways to do that. One is to highlight it, right-click on it, and go to construction. I can also, while it's highlighted, come up here to the format and select construction. Either way, it will turn it into a line that I can use, but Inventor will not be able to see in 3D mode. Great. Let's create 2 more lines out to our outside circle. I'll put on a general dimension from our construction line to the first diagonal of 15 degrees. I'll go from the first diagonal to the second diagonal and put on a dimension of 30 degrees. From 15 degrees to horizontal and 30 degrees up will create that small window that we want. Now I know just from doing it before that Inventor's going to have a hard time picking just this small window. So to help it, I'm going to do a little bit of trimming. I'm going to get rid of the first portion of this circle. I'll get rid of the first portion of this circle, and I'm only going to remove this last portion. I'm not going to remove this last one. Inventor should now be able to interpret this as the shape that I want to be able to extrude. Finish sketch. Extrude. I can pick the shape that I want. Remember, because this is a construction line, Inventor can't actually see this as a pie shape, so it allows me to see these 2 profiles, and I'm going to cut all. The last thing we're going to do is a circular pattern. I can see by just looking at the picture that I have a pattern of 6. So I'll come up to my circular pattern. I need to be in 3D or I will not be able to pick this shape. I'll pick the shape, come over here to my rotation axis, pick the center of the part, and I want a placement of 6 parts, 360 degrees. Select OK. That should create everything that we need for the entire wheel.